Great Debaters Contest is brought to you by Safaricom M-Pesa.
How do you expect to deal with illiteracy when you cannot deal with the fact that people have literally no food?
With political stability, we will have political development, social development, my people.
We need to over-rely on the foreign languages since we don't have an African language.
We have experienced xenophobia attacks in Africa. Are we going to say that people started killing each other just because of climate?
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Great Debaters Contest. The highlights, we're giving you the inside take on two regions, Kisumu and Nairobi. Over to you, Mario.
Okay, gentlemen, let's start with the motherland. Nairobi was ground zero for the Great Debaters Contest. We have been here the longest, 5 years if I'm not wrong. Do you feel like the quality of debate in Nairobi is increasing, or have we plateaued? Have we just reached a stagnant point? Maina?
Well, Nairobi has always been this region that has always had surprises. Time and time again, we've never had a constant lead in terms of a team that has always remained the constant top in terms of the regions. Interesting enough, we had, a school that no one expected would top up the region, coming fourth. And Ofafa Jericho just did a marvelous job. Wherever they are, kudos. But we can't forget, of course, the girls from Kenya High, who also fought very hard. Of course, they were second. But, there's always a way that it's not about the name. It's all about the game that you bring on the table. Well, in terms of participation, I love the fact that Nairobi has never disappointed. They always come in great numbers. And it was a tough one for us as judges because most of the schools were good. They prepared, they know what debate means, and they brought in the seriousness that debate deserves. So it was one amazing time that we had, and sitting down there as a judge at times, it's purely learning from these guys.
Mm-hmm. And Major, as a judge, is Nairobi perhaps the hardest region to judge?
The opposite. I think Nairobi is the easiest region to judge. Okay. Reason being, we have a cocktail of styles, and we are not just looking at the basics, we look for the meat of the debate. And the meat of the debate here is content analysis. And as Judge Maina has alluded to and actually explained, we are talking about the Kenya High School, we are talking about Ofafa Jericho, and there are others actually. We're talking about Lenana School. I can't miss to mention the name because of Austin, and many other schools that have brought their A games. So I find it difficult to judge a region when you do not have a marking scheme, because a debater just comes on stage and speaks for 3 minutes, then takes his or her seat. But at least Nairobi region, they understand the format of debate. They understand the ABCs of debate. And therefore, it becomes easy. When you look at content, you look at style, those things become easy to address. Talking about the Kenya High, I think they brought in something new to the debate. And we're talking about the cookies scenario during the regional debate. And I think it was exciting.
I brought cookies. No, seriously. I brought cookies. Now, I want you to look past the pastries and your hunger at this point in time, and I want to show you this is a unitary government, and this is a devolved government. I've just demarcated a few boundaries, but hey, it's still a cookie. This is Kenya, and this is still Kenya, and I think it pretty much tastes the same. Yeah, still a cookie.
I've never tried to understand devolution in terms of food. Talk about food, maybe Maina might understand evolution in terms of food.
But we always talk about the national cake.
Yeah, but you see, not in terms of cookies. Okay, yeah.
Maybe because Judge Maina will eat the national cake, but it's okay, let's continue.
Okay.
Thanks, amen.
Okay, please.
They brought something that is close to our hearts, and that is food. You see, devolution can be abstract. It can be a very complicated thing to understand. But the Kenya High School understood what we need. They are speaking to adolescents. And to the adolescents, food is very close to their hearts. So what do? Explain devolution in terms of food. And I think to us as judges, we credited them because they explained a complicated concept in terms of what we can easily understand. Ofafa Jericho, awesome. I remember that was the time when the President of the United States of America, Barack Obama, was visiting our country. And I loved what they did. They tried to understand the happenings around, the beautification of the city.
Kenya is busy putting up CCTV cameras along Mombasa Road while Barack Obama is coming. Neocolonization.
And they could incorporate that into their debate. And that was brilliant when I think it was Stephen talked about neocolonialism, this aspect of sweeping the city streets clean of the street urchins. And, basically, the incorporation of whatever thing was happening in our society into the motions was brilliant. And Lenana School, as you have mentioned, the pastor, the bishop, the church scenario, that was brilliant again.
I'd rather you refer to me as Father Blackie, because I am not only here to oppose this motion, but I am also here to preach the gospel behind the opposition.
As Father Blackie has said, he has given you the preaching and I the choir master. Kuna panya kubwa kwa jikoni, inatumalizia nyama.
Being a faithful disciple of this particular ministry, I'm also here to strongly oppose this motion.
So Nairobi region is rich, it's packed, yeah.
It's always so hard to steer a conversation away from food when it comes to the three of you, especially Major and Minor.
Oh, yeah.
But Austin, what, food aside, what was your standout school in Nairobi? I know what you'll say, but I have to ask anyway.
True. So before I say, can I get an amen?
Amen.
Can I get an amen?
Amen.
Lenana, wherever you are, you amazed me, you entertained me. I was moved. I'm rarely moved, but you moved me. They had creativity, as in that's, if creativity needed a definition, the dictionary needs their school logo, because they just came in and brought something we've never seen before, something fresh, something that just had you like, who's the next one? What role is he going to play? And that is actually putting into context the roles of the debaters, puts into context those roles. And the tricky part is that they made it their own. And it's rare that you find debaters that come in and they own their roles. Like, you wouldn't expect the third speaker to be the first speaker, because we've heard from the judges that give comments like, no, we'd prefer that the first speaker was the third speaker, but in this case, it just flowed purely. And that is also a testament to teamwork. So for me, Lenana, you won, despite the fact that you weren't the ones who topped the region, but you were my winners.
Very interesting standout elements. Ofafa Jericho, of course, blew us away. I mean, we really weren't expecting it, but, debate is all about the unexpected. I think we can all attest to that. So, gentlemen, if there was anything that you would like the other regions to learn from Nairobi, not borrow, we don't want copycats or whatever, but we'd like to see them borrow something, or at least, if there's a takeaway from Nairobi that you could take to any other region, what would it be? I think I'll start with Major.
Content mastery. I think you can't compare Nairobi with other regions. We've visited other regions and largely our judging is centered on mastery of content, referencing your sources. Those are the problems that you encounter in other regions. But come to Nairobi, content analysis is awesome. Styles, again, is awesome. In fact, Nairobi, we have a cocktail of styles.
With me here is a paper that was done last year. And since this is a debate session, I believe we are all very accustomed. You all have the hang of history, whether you dropped it or not. This is just but an example.
Just a conglomeration, so to speak, of styles. And that's what makes Nairobi region top. Okay, we may say that Nairobi is advantaged in one way or the other because of access to resources, maybe internet connectivity. But I think other regions are also as well connected. So we should not have a problem with research, I bet, in the coming season, because that's the biggest problem that we are having with other regions, and that's why we mark them down most of the time. So if there is a takeout from Nairobi region, content mastery and style of presentation. All of us know what you want to say, but how you say it is what matters a lot. So there is an English word, idiosyncrasy, or is it idiosyncrasy? Something that is unique, a behavioral attribute that is unique to you. That is what we want when you come to debate. Don't try to be somebody else. Of course, you can learn from your competitors, but that unique thing that makes you unique, bring it to the table.
Okay. Maina, what would you like to see taken from Nairobi and taken countrywide, so to speak?
Picking from what my colleague has just put it across, it's the originality that comes out of, the debater. There's a statement that says that who you are is more important than what you do. Because who you are informs what you do and how you do it. And I think in Nairobi, we see a great deal of people who know that they were born debaters, Whether they discovered that over time or something of that sort, I don't know. But what stood out all across is the level of, public speaking. If there was, levels to measure, it was just on another level, because the way we stood there or sat there listening, it was captivating all through. We didn't have sessions where we said, oh my, when will these guys end, or something of that sort. It was constant in its own self. And I think it's purely a lot of practice, because public speaking, you have to practice these things, where you have to inculcate the non-verbal and the verbal. And that simply means for the teams that were there, they took the training very seriously. And I think the patrons as well didn't take it for granted to ensure that they have the best of the best. The other thing that also stood out is that the patrons came knowing very well they're going home as the victors. And so to all the students that were participating, they knew we are taking the day. In fact, it was not predictable who was going to win that day. And so it was a surprise as well for many. I can't forget the fact that, the former, giants, that Strathmore school as well came very ready. In fact, they had two of the participants were just former debaters. So they expected, we're now still going to have the title. But to their surprise, they were hit hard.
Mariam was hit hard.
Mariam was hit hard, isn't
Yes,
it?
My feelings were hit hard. I made it.
That's now you see. So and we can't forget schools like LCVR, St. George's, and the rest of the schools that participated as well. They brought in their best, and so to sum it up, I would say what stood out for me, it's just the art of speaking, public speaking in itself, and that's what I think my colleague was trying to allude when he said the style. It was just amazing. They were unique. Everybody brought their own uniqueness. Very captivating.
And maybe to add something, if you want to debate, don't do so to please the judges. You're going to miss the point. If you look at Ofafa Jericho, they were debating to enjoy themselves. They were comfortable with the stage. Think about Lenana School. They didn't. I doubt if they had the judges in mind. Am I pleasing Judge Maina? Am I pleasing Judge Nas? That was not their thing. To them, they came to enjoy themselves. And believe you me, once you enjoy yourself, the person listening to you will also enjoy your presentation. And that's the problem we are having with other regions. When a debater comes on stage, you're so rigid. You've put on a mask. Sometimes it's just peel back the mask. Of course, not the book, but just peel the mask and be yourself and debate, and that will be impressive.
Yeah. I think for me, the standout thing with Nairobi is always the characters. That we've gone throughout the country, we've seen such great debaters from everywhere, but characters from Nairobi sometimes tend to stick. So I know that's difficult to export, but there's people you cannot forget. I mean, so many years later, I still remember people like Farah Malim, Mohammed from Light Academy, Valiant from Strathmore. They're always such standout characters, and we'd love to see more from every part of the country. So we don't just say, the great debater title is reserved for someone from Nairobi.
Yeah. So is it safe for us to say that the same way that we say art for art's sake, that we should sometimes or always subscribe to debate for debate's sake? What do you think?
Always. Because if you tailor your argument, this is just speaking as a former debater, if you tailor your argument towards a specific person or, a specific, like a judge or perhaps the audience, you tend to miss the point, Debate for the sake of argument's sake, for the sake of making coherent argument, supporting whatever side it is you've been given. And I believe the rest will come as a byproduct of that.
You have to run in life. If you cannot run, you have to walk. If you cannot walk, you have to crawl.
Mobile money has proven once and again that it can be efficient, and it has worked in Kenya.
In these slums, I'm talking from experience, the hygiene is pathetic.
Affirmative action seeks to compensate for historical injustice of a given people.
Climate change will lead to the increased interest in alternative energy.
Africa depends on agricultural activities.
When industries grow, we have employment.
A democracy is the best way to rule a country.
Now, Judge Maina, we took you to the lakeside city, Kisumu, the region, yeah? So tell us, what moved you?
Luangni, you know that place?
Talking about fish.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. You trust
Luangni
Judge
Hotel.
Minor to be moved from one place to another for food. But it's
don't
the
worry about it.
characteristics of all living things. It's fine.
I think there's something about that fish that makes those guys better speakers like never before,
fish
because
it's rich in omega-3 and 6.
they don't
that
touch
is-
it. There's no GMO on it. You know, it's
Exactly.
just full. The way it
Fresh
comes
from the
over,
lake.
you deal with it as it
True,
is.
true,
You know.
true. Now, straight to the debate.
Yeah, straight to the debate. Fine. But I must say thanks to those guys.
If we
the next
ever-
time I'm coming, the next time I have to pass through
If
that.
mine
We have
ever
to do
manages to
this.
give a
We have
comment
to do
without
this.
talking
We have-
about food,
we have
I'm
to
giving him a
sneak in
medal.
emotion about food, like seriously, not on a macro scale, but on a micro scale, like food. I'm sure Judge Minor, you'll have some bias, just as a warning.
Yes. The next time we go to Kisumu, don't forget to go to Luangni.
Okay,
I had to say
fine.
that.
It's
Anyway,
okay.
Free
Product
advertisement.
placement. Product placement. It's fine.
Absolutely.
So tell us, what moved you?
Well, I was moved in a way because I discovered that I forgot a very important gadget in Nairobi.
Okay.
Let me call it a book, not a gadget.
Sure.
I forgot a dictionary. I forgot I was going to Kisumu.
Okay.
Well,
You can download it.
the teams there.
Different generation also.
Oh yeah,
True,
we
true,
have
and
online
like,
dictionaries.
like we have an app
respect
for
my age.
everything, you know?
Yes. You know, I saw
We've
you
an app-
debating the other day. Okay. Now,
As we were.
mastery of language, awesome. Those guys have content. I mean, they have language on another level. I don't know where these words come from. The gentlemen and the ladies there have an exceptional style of language in terms of how they speak, and you're left sometimes thinking, what did he just say? And sometimes I had to consult, like Judge
Yes, of
Booker.
course you had
Judge
to
Booker, that's her home ground, and she was flowing very fast, so she was helping me so much through the debates. But I really enjoyed the elements of that uniqueness, and of course we also had a lot of talent. Some of the best musicians we saw were from Kisumu as well. Looking at all the regions, Kisumu as well was somewhere, where I would say could be categorized in the region that did not disappoint. However, I would have to say that comparing to some, like the region we just discussed about Nairobi, in terms of just the element of the style of presentation, if those guys worked on that all across the teams, they would fly high.
Okay, I just have to ask this, Major. It's your home ground, yeah? We call you Mr. Miranda. The big words Minor is talking about, the fact that he needed a dictionary. I just have to ask, is it a diversionary tactic? Is it, let me bombard you with big words and then confuse you, and at the end of the day you'll be like, wow, but then I really didn't say much. Was it just a smokescreen? Could it have just been a smokescreen?
Okay. Before answering your question, Mariam, I think the fish was nice. I've
We
got
just
to
had
say
to go
that.
there.
Yes.
The
Had to
fish,
thank
Luangni
you.
Hotel, it was
Just had to go
awesome.
there. It's fine.
And I enjoyed the fish. Can't talk about Kisumu without talking about the lake and the fish hosting.
Thank
I
you,
know
Major.
you come from Mombasa, yeah, so that might hamper it. Kisumu region, it was awesome. And as Mina actually said, there was the level of mastery of language was just impressive. But there's something about debate. You must be accessible as a debater. And the moment you're obscure, you block your listeners. The aim of debate is communication, like any other form of communication. And once you're not communicating, then no matter how impressive you are in terms of your language, then people might not listen to you. We do say that some of the best writers in history, they use simple and straightforward English. Think about Shakespeare. We don't remember Shakespeare because of
Mark
anything.
Twain.
Yeah, think about Mark Twain also. Shakespeare we remember to be or not to be. That is the question. It's a common statement that everybody mentions. But look at its grammatical composition. Is it that, high diction? There is no high diction. Everyday diction that we use. So important thing about debate is not, building that smoke screen in a way that you're not accessible to impress the people without really them getting what you're talking about. Content is very important. But that is not to say all the debaters. We had a number of debaters and a number of schools which are quite impressive. Miranda High School, beautiful debate. To me, they stood out because of the beautiful elements of debating. And also styles. I've always alluded to Caswell of Miranda High School, the second speaker, and the fact that he has something about him that you can't really...
Straight from the pre-visits, from the workshops.
Exactly,
Yeah.
straight from the workshop. He has confidence, He doesn't fear the stage. In fact, it's almost like the stage fears him, because when he's almost walking to the stage, you don't know what to expect. Beautiful debater. And also the fact that he's quite satirical. He loves satire.
He's extremely satiric.
Exactly. I remember him telling the opponents, don't bring to the motion a $10 argument, a 10-cent argument on our $10 motion.
To my opponents, here you have come and given us a 5-cent argument on a $10 motion that a cashless economy is most definitely the best stimulus to economic growth.
Just attitude. And I've always said attitude is very important in debate. Try to knock off your opponents. Try to intimidate them. Intimidation is the rule of the game here, and you'll actually win. So keep the rhythm if you can, of course. And you can't forget Luak girls.
For us students to operate mobile accounts, we'll have to be ready to bear the operational disruptions that come with the mobile operation accounts.
Something about Kisumu, it was also a learning experience because it was a virgin ground that we were exploring for the first time. And there is this mentality that I come from this school and I can't lose. And I want to appreciate the girls of Luak girls because at one point they really had a problem conceding defeat, But with the time, they came to master their emotions and concede and see, this is about debate, this is a competition, and there is a winner and there is a loser. So in case we lose this time round, next time we shall win. And we have seen that a lot in Nairobi. Schools that have lost, they bet. Next time they come, they're better off. So the Kisumu region was a learning experience. There was variety. There was a lot that we can actually say about the region.
Actually, Judge Major, on what you've said, we actually got to experience the emotional investment students and schools in particular got to actually put in into the contest. And it's actually important to actually highlight the fact we should accept defeat. And we should know that, as you said, where I come from doesn't really matter. It matters how we actually perform during the debate itself.
Exactly. And the important thing here is that when you go to debate, it gives us a level play field. No matter where you come from, the school, the home you come from, level play field. And that's when you learn that outside here, there are people who know more than you know. An African proverb says that a child who has not traveled always thinks the mother is the best cook. But if a child decides to travel, then he will realize that they are better cooks than the mother. And this is all about the Great Debaters Contest. You think that I'm a good debater because I come from this school or this home. But when you are given the podium, the GDC podium, then your eyes are open. You realize, wow, I never thought this can come out of this particular place, but that's the beauty of it all.
So Kisumu was a wonderful experience indeed. If you had to rate it out of 10, what would you give Kisumu? Austin, 1 to 10.
Me?
Yes, yes, you.
Of course.
No, the Austin behind you.
1 to 10, I'd give Kisumu 5.5.
5.5. That's very accurate. Why?
I'll just give a 0.5 for the patron.
Why is it accurate, Mario?
No, it's just most people would give a round number.
Okay.
I would say 5, 6. The 0.5 is
it's for
okay.
the
Let me say it
patron.
was, it was specific.
Yeah.
Okay.
Judge Minor.
Minor.
You usually don't give 0.5, so don't try and jack my swag.
I give them a 6. I give them a 6. And the reason because I believe the next time they will get a higher note because now they know. Yes.
Indeed. Major?
All right. If 5.5 was accurate, then I'll try 6.27. I mean, that would be more accurate.
You just picked a random number. No, we're not going to take that seriously.
Jacking my swag.
6.27.
6.27.
Walk us through your number.
That means anything beyond 6 will be acceptable. Now, this is the thing about
10 is beyond 6.
Oh, anything beyond 6 and less than 7 will be acceptable. This is the thing about Kisumu region. They have the language. And once you have the language, then you are on the path of being a good debater. And also there was fair level of research done. But what was lacking was the style. We are moving from this traditional form of debating, British parliamentary system of debating, to this GDC format of debating. And I think a number of people are used to Mr. Speaker, sir, and a number of us are also just used to airing your views without really considering your style of presentation. It's not all about what you say. Most important is how you say it. And I think that is where Kisumu is missing it, how they put across their points. They have the points, but the style, the added factor is not there. So 6.23 will not be bad for me.
Okay, that's not bad. I think you're trying to remind them that it's more important to get their point across than to worry about the formalities and the tiny nuances. Yeah.
Well put.
It's the how, not the what.
Yes, it's the how, not the what. Okay.
I must commend Luak girls. I think it was very hard for them to, concede defeat. But, it took a session, an extra session, especially with Judge Buka, so to convince them and give them a few hugs and so, and for them
But
to
Locke,
accept
we'll see you
that,
next this year.
Yeah, and
This
I
year.
believe that pain is still within them, and so they shall come out. Yeah, absolutely, they should. Yeah, change that energy to winning. Is it? Yeah, and so we believe that bring your A game, Black girls. But that does not mean that the other schools can't. It's always getting ready, as we have seen. Surprises always.
And by the way, some of the so-called, I'm not fond of this term, but small schools. I don't know how we are rating schools, but some of the schools that we don't hear more often than not, they surprised us, and that's the beauty of it all. I think I saw a number of schools that came to the GDC stage and they pulled a surprise, and that's the impressive thing about it. We should not fear debating because you're going to debate against the school. One time it happened in Nairobi when some debaters came, they were paired, and they said, we can't debate because we can't debate against this school. They're too big for us, too big for us. I think that mentality, we should kill it. We are all equal. We wear the same uniform, go through the same curriculum, speak the same language, study the same set books in school, and therefore it makes us equal. So the impressive thing about Kisumu are those schools that maybe might not really be in the limelight, public limelight, that came out and debated quite well. That was impressive.
I think we can end Kisumu region.
Yeah, Kisumu. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen, for paying attention to our inside take.
Democracy is a government for the people, by the people, and with the people.
The rate of HIV spread and the people living with HIV in Africa are more.
The loans that the youths are given, you have to have a project. It will increase creativity.
It is obvious that in any developing nation, what helps in economic growth is constant saving.
You've had all it takes to make this show great. I am Austin Yimbok.
And I am Mariam Bishar. Catch us tomorrow for more highlights from all over the country.
The Great Debaters Contest was brought to you by Safaricom M-Pesa.